that was my preparation.
Yeah.
Let me see what you did for your class preparation.
I started with some applique.
Oh, cool.
So I took white Kraft-Tex and I did some turned edge
Ooh.
applique.
Was that a machine stitch?
Yeah, I did machine stitching. I could have taken needle and thread and tried to make it as invisible as possible, but I'm not that patient. It would work. I mean, it would work. I just wouldn't do it for a really big project. So I just used different, like a blanket stitch, a zigzag stitch, a straight stitch. Right here's a don't do what I did and start the needle too far off the square.
It's okay. Nobody will notice.
And this is raw edge applique. So I kind of like that kind of furry fabric look.
I love raw edge.
See, like a little furry fabric look. So I stitched this with a straight stitch. I did this one with the zigzag stitch, but you know how I love glue, so I glued these down. You can't even like clip in the middle. You could. You're magic with clips.
No.
So I glue. So what I glued was just glued it in the middle though. See, so my edges are pulling up. So when I was doing my zigzag stitching, it folded in. So this is a don't do what I do thing. Right there. Don't do what I do.
Oh, that's okay.
So this is fabric on Kraft-Tex. So I did another example of Kraft-Tex on fabric. So I did the same stitches. I did a little blanket stitch, a zigzag stitch, and a straight stitch. To make it easier for me, I actually used wash away stitch stabilizer.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it's super easy to use.
It's really stiff.
You just cut off the size you want. You take off the paper and it's sticky on the back and you stick it down. So it just helped me keep my fabric a little more stable as I was stitching around my sloppy circle.
That's really cute. You could do all kinds of fun stuff with that.
I do have fun stuff.
Ooh.
I didn't do it. So someone else stitched this for us. It's lovely. So, turn it around backwards. Here's the card. And she did a few different examples.
Oh, those are really
and it's just like thread sketching, how she did like thread sketching on it too. This one has both applique and decorative stitching.
Fun. I love the raw edge.
And can I have your pillow? Betsy did one. I love this pillow. So Betsy took this one and she appliqued this chair onto the fabric, and she also she appliqued a little fabric image onto Kraft-Tex onto the pillow. Love it. Those projects had applique and some of them had decorative stitching. So here are some examples of decorative stitching I did last night.
That is so cute.
So you can see this from a distance, and I'll hold it up so you can see it close too. I really wanted my decorative stitching to show up, so I did a heavy duty thread. And then I tried it with regular thread.
Did you use a different needle for that, or did you use a regular needle for your heavy thread?
I, of course, used the absolutely perfect needle for it. I used the needle that was in my machine. And I dug through, because I remember from the last time you told us what needle to use.
Use a top stitch needle.
I had no top stitch. I had some Micro-Tex, I had some jeans, and I remember you saying don't bother with the jeans needle, so I didn't. So I don't think it was a top stitch needle.
Oh,
it was probably a universal needle. But what I discovered was with the heavy duty thread, you can't necessarily see it any better than you can see the standard thread, but some stitches, like this star or the asterisk, I don't know what it's officially called, and the heart, with the thicker thread, it would start building up and it wouldn't go through.
Oh.
And I also found with the heavy duty thread, I used my walking foot. The walking foot made it go much smoother. But I did this twice. So one kind of pulled, so it kind of got a little off.
Oh yeah, there's little.
Yeah. It was a little bit better on this one, where I just kind of held it kind of steady as it was going. It's much smoother with the regular thread.
Okay.
And anytime you're going to want to do anything that builds up, like these build up in the middle, I don't think you want to use the heavy duty thread. You want to stick with just the standard thread.
Okay. So it's a good thing to run a little test strip maybe first before you commit to doing.
That's an excellent point. I also think that if you see this stitch, you can see it from the back, it goes close together all the way down the middle. I bet I perforated the heck out of that. And if I were doing it on a project, I would want to make sure, it's not tearing, but I'd want to make sure it had some solid Kraft-Tex on either side, because I bet it would just tear really easily.
Yeah, good thing to check. Those are really cute. Love it.
Thank you.
Cool.
You can also use embroidery on Kraft-Tex.
Wow.
Yeah. This is a super cute Super cute zippered pouch from Alyssa Thomas from Penguin and Fish. This was in the Kraft-Tex style book. But what's great about this is she also did a sulky webinar, and we're going to put the link down
Nice.
below that talks all about the best way to use embroidery stitches on Kraft-Tex. I haven't done much with it. I know we're going to do a future class on that, so we're going to both study up, right?
I haven't done it, so this will be new for me.
One thing I know that it makes it a little bit easier is everything's done normally embroidery thread, normal needle, but you can pre-punch your little holes. So take a needle and pre-punch where your holes are going to be.
Much
then when you
easier.
take the thread, it makes it much easier.
Yeah.
So that's my one embroidery advice. Here are a couple more examples of surface design on Kraft-Tex.
Wow.
So this notebook is super pretty. So the artist here, took regular sewing stitches, and so it's almost like
very
she's quilting
pretty.
feathers. So she quilted the feathers, so to speak, and then she went back and she filled it in with, what do you think that is, ink?
Well, this is the designer Kraft-Tex.
Yeah, so this is orchid.
Orchid is.
But then this pink here and this purple, she
maybe
did
paint.
maybe with some paints.
That is really
I'm gonna put
cool.
that there. Another option is to just take decorative threads or yarns. She took decorative yarns and kind of stitched over the whole surface.
Wow.
As a way to,
That is really stunning.
this is the way it goes. There, that's the front. To create embellishments. You can weave with Kraft-Tex. Here's an example. Like you can with paper.
That is very cool.
So we're definitely going to be talking about weaving with Kraft-Tex in a future class. We'll
Yeah.
show you how to do it.
Yeah,
But
that's its own thing.
if you want to get started, you just go online. I went to Pinterest and I searched for paper weaving.
Wow.
Works exactly the same as paper weaving.
Okay.
There's some super cute examples. This is upside down technically. I'm going to do this one next.
That
I
is
love that one.
so stunning.
So there's all sorts of things you can do. For the most part, I mean, it's really easy. You have Kraft-Tex strips going one way, Kraft-Tex strips going the other way.
So do you sew the strips, like do you top stitch before you weave them, or do you just do
That's a
them
good
plain?
question. I like to top stitch down the two edges because, you know, I love using my blind 10-foot that takes me right down the
right.
edge and it adds an embellishment.
Yeah.
You definitely don't have to. Here's an example of some Kraft-Tex weaving that it's just
wow.
woven. So I found this, here it is. I had this example from Pinterest. And then what I do is I kind of sketch it out on what I think it's supposed to look like. And I did it on the computer because I was going to use it for a project. So you see that there's just warp and weft pieces of Kraft-Tex. And then I kind of played around with the scale to find out what I liked. These are 1/4 inch wide strips. And then you just put it down.
Weave it according
well,
to
and we'll give you full instructions in another class.
But like if I was going to use this, do you stitch around the edge to hold it all together?
When I'm doing it, I tape it around the edge.
Oh, okay.
And then I mark the pattern piece I'm going to use, and then I stitch within that, right inside that line, so that
Yep.
it holds the Kraft-Tex right at the edge, and it'll be within the seam allowance later. You'll never see it. So some different examples. And this, it's not this pattern, it's a similar pattern. Here's my Charlie backpack pattern.
What?
Ah, it's so new, I don't even have my own copy yet. But this shows you how to do weaving on two different weaves on two different bags.
Awesome.
So that's one way to learn it, and we'll also cover it in a future class. So those are all the fun things I played around with. And you have our homework, right?
I do. I have our homework assignment.
Let's do it.
Today, we are going to be making a little journal.
That's really cute.
It's actually a journal cover. This one has reverse applique on it, but please feel free to decorate it however you please. Stamp it, paint it, whatever you'd like. This journal cover takes 3 pieces of Kraft-Tex. It'll be a cover, the front cover, back cover, and the spine.
Okay. What
And-
color? What size do you cut these?
Well, there are directions for what size to
Okay.
cut it, depending on the size of your journal
Oh,
that you're
okay.
working with. So there will be directions. down below, and they'll be all written out as far as how many inches to add and all that type of thing. But, so I'm just going to give you sort of a general overview.
Okay. Front and back cover.
Front and back cover and a
The
spine.
spine. Okay.
Make sure that if you're embellishing something, you do it before you sew it together.
Oh.
Much easier.
Inside. See the back side.
Yeah. If you are going to be doing the reverse applique, for example, like this monogram one, you're going to find yourself a letter. Can I have this here? That you like. Center it on your. Thank you.
Now you're centered. On your centering.
Centered. Center it on your paper, on your Kraft-Tex. You want to leave room for the edge, and you want to leave room for your spine.
Oh, because wait, you fold under an edge.
You're going to be folding
okay.
under. So let's do this. You're going to cut it out with a craft knife. And then, let's see if we can make this work with this one that's already assembled. You can see that there is a piece of interfacing behind your square of fabric. I believe it's 4x4 to get it underneath this particular monogram. So you take your piece of fabric, you take your interfacing, and you're gonna tape those down. Get back to the front here and top stitch.
Okay.
Now remember, this is very important. If you're doing a letter that has cutouts like this, remember to save those from when you cut it out before, because those need to be stitched in there as well.
Is that an example of what not to do?
Yeah, I had to do it a second time because I lost one of my bee interior bumps things. Okay, so you create whatever artwork it is you're going to create, and then this is so easy. You're going to take your spine. You're going to use a folding implement. I like to use these bone folders. They're really great for giving you a nice.
That's not
crisp.
in the middle.
What you do? No, this is the spine. You're going to take
okay.
your journal.
Oh, okay.
And you want to bend it over
Get the right width.
to get the right width.
Okay.
Okay? And then you're going to do 2 folds. You got a fold here. You've got a fold here. I've already pre-folded it, as you can see.
Yeah, that's it.
And that becomes your spine. After you've folded your spine, we're going to assemble the book,
Okay.
the journal cover. So we're going to take our front cover that's now been embellished
Pretty.
with
It's beautiful.
whatever. Yeah, isn't that pretty?
It's gorgeous.
And you're going to take your spine, and you're going to take your back cover, and you are going to sew these all together. You're going to make sure you set that in there right up against where the fold is. Top stitch here. You're going to put your back cover, you're going to stitch there. You can stitch along this edge. What you want to do is stitch along the edge, not back here. Okay?
Okay.
So now you've got one piece all stitched together. I'm going to pull this one back in so that you can see. So you've got your one piece all stitched together, and the next thing you need to do is you're going to make your flaps. Your flaps, you're going to use your journal, whatever the size of the journal is, and you're going to fold it over to size, to fit the correct size for your journal. So make sure your spine is lined up so you've got the right size. Fold it over. You want to make sure you've got a good crisp fold there. And then you simply do 2 seams, one along the top, one along the bottom, and that keeps your journal all together. Very easy, very
Nice.
straightforward.
Do that for
Everything-
homework.
That's right.
That is
Show
your
it.
homework. Take pictures of your project and post it on Pinterest and Instagram with hashtag Kraft-Tex University. All lowercase, no hyphens. It's back there. It's also down below. That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, what are we doing next time?
We are making bags.
Oh, that's my favorite.
I love making bags.
Yeah, good. Can we do, I was going to say, can we do more than one, but no, we'll just
Let's
do
just
one.
start with one.
We'll do one.
Everyone else, you can do more than one if you want.
Yeah.
That's it.
Great.
Class dismissed.